Did you know a legendary Greek hero once vanished into the depths of the sea for years, only to emerge with tales of unimaginable adventures? And what about a Norse god who was tricked into causing his brother's death, only to return after the apocalypse? These are 8 mythical heroes who disappeared and reappeared years later. First up at number 8, Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong, also known as the Monkey King, is a famous mythical hero in Chinese mythology. His story is full of exciting adventures. Born from a stone, Sun Wukong had amazing strength, agility, and magical powers. He quickly became a powerful figure, but had a rebellious nature. He even dared to challenge the gods in heaven. Sun Wukong caused so much trouble that the Buddha had to step in. He was trapped under the 5 Elements mountain for 500 years as punishment, and it was the Buddha himself who trapped him with a special mantra. You might think his story ends there, but fate had other plans. When the monk Tangsanzang, also known as Xuanzang, went to get sacred Buddhist scriptures from India, Sun Wukong was freed to help. This was his big comeback, turning from a troublemaker to a brave and loyal protector. His adventures with Tangsanzang, as told in the classic novel Journey to the West, show how even the wildest characters can change. Next at number 7, Orpheus. Orpheus was a legendary musician and poet in Greek mythology, known for his amazing musical talents. His music could charm anyone, even the gods. His most famous story is one about his journey to the underworld to bring back his wife, Eurydice, who died from a snake bite. Orpheus's music was so beautiful that it moved Hades and Persephone to let Eurydice return to the living world. But there was one condition. Orpheus couldn't look back at Eurydice until they were both out of the underworld. As they got close to the exit, Orpheus, full of doubt and longing, looked back. Eurydice vanished forever. After returning from the underworld, Orpheus stopped worshipping the god Dionysus, which made the god angry. Dionysus sent his followers, the Maenads, to attack Orpheus. They tore him apart and scattered his body. Some stories say that Orpheus's head and lyre were carried by a river to the island of Lesbos. There, his head kept singing, and his lyre continued to play music. Other stories suggest that his head was brought to Lesbos, where it became an oracle, giving prophecies. In this way, Orpheus's voice and music lived on, even after his tragic death. His story is a sad reminder of how fragile life is and how dangerous doubt can be. Not all the mythical figures in this video were heroes, though some led complicated lives. Number 6. Cronus. Cronus, the Titan god of time, once ruled the universe during the Golden Age. He was the father of the Olympian gods and a big part of Greek mythology. Cronus was scared of a prophecy that said one of his kids would overthrow him. To stop this, he swallowed each newborn child, but his wife, Rhea, saved their youngest, Zeus, by tricking Cronus with a stone wrapped in baby clothes. Zeus grew up, defeated Cronus, and freed his siblings, ending Cronus's rule. After his defeat, Cronus was sent to Tartarus, a dark prison, but his story didn't end there. In some myths, Cronus was freed from Tartarus and became the ruler of the Isles of the Blessed, a paradise for good souls. This changed him from a tyrant to a kind ruler. The idea of Cronus ruling the Isles actually comes from the later Roman interpretations of the Greek myth. Cronus' return shows the cycle of time and that even the strongest beings can find redemption. Number 5. Osiris. Osiris, the Egyptian god of the afterlife, is a key figure in Egyptian mythology. He represents the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Osiris was a wise and fair ruler who brought civilization to Egypt, but his jealous brother, Seth, betrayed and killed him. Seth then cut Osiris's body into pieces and scattered them across Egypt to stop him from coming back. Osiris's wife, Isis, was heartbroken but determined to bring him back. She searched for all the pieces of his body and used magic to resurrect him. Although Osiris came back to life, he didn't return to the mortal world. Instead, he went to the underworld to rule over the dead and judge their souls. Osiris's story shows the Egyptian belief in life after death. His disappearance from the mortal world and return as a god of the underworld highlight that death is not the end, but a transition to a new life. Isis's unwavering love and determination brought her husband back, even if only in spirit. Number 4. Usheen. Usheen, a famous poet and warrior from Celtic mythology, has a story full of magic, love, and loss. He was the son of Finn MacCool, the leader of the Fianna, a group of heroic warriors in Irish tales. His life was changed when he met Niamh, a beautiful woman from Tir na Nog, the land of eternal youth. Niamh fell in love with Usheen and invited him to live with her in Tir na Nog, where they would stay young and happy forever. Usheen agreed and left the mortal world to go with her. In Tir na Nog, time passed differently. What seemed like a few years to Usheen was actually centuries in the mortal world. Eventually, Usheen missed his homeland and asked Niamh if he could visit Ireland. She agreed, but warned him not to get off his horse, or the spell of eternal youth would break. When Usheen returned to Ireland, he found everything had changed. The Fianna were gone, and the world he knew was different. Sadly, Usheen dismounted his horse and instantly aged into a frail old man. His return to a changed world reminds us of the passing of time and how life can change in an instant. Number 3. Horda. Horda, the blind god of winter, is a tragic figure in Norse mythology. He's best known for accidentally killing his brother, Balder, who was loved by all the gods. This happened because the trickster god, Loki, deceived Horda. During a game where the gods were testing Balder's invincibility, Loki gave Horda an arrow made of mistletoe, the only thing that could harm Balder. Horda, not knowing the arrow was deadly, shot and killed his brother. After this tragic event, Horda was overwhelmed with grief and guilt. In some stories, he disappeared, while in others, he was killed. Even after this, both Horda and Balder were destined to return after Ragnarok, the apocalypse in Norse mythology. After Ragnarok, the world would be reborn, and Horda and Balder would come back from the underworld, representing a new beginning. Even after such a tragic mistake, Horda's reappearance shows that life goes on, offering the chance for redemption and new beginnings. Number 2. Balder. Balder, the Norse god of light, purity, and beauty, is a beloved figure in Norse mythology. His death is a key event leading to Ragnarok, the end of the world. Balder was loved by all the gods and was safe from everything except mistletoe. As we've already mentioned, the trickster god Loki used this to his advantage. Though Loki's trick, Balder was killed by his brother Horda, who unknowingly shot him with a mistletoe arrow. After his death, Balder went to Hel, the realm of the dead, where he stayed until after Ragnarok. His death marked the beginning of the end, and everyone missed him deeply. But there was hope. It was predicted that Balder would come back to life after Ragnarok, emerging from the underworld to help rebuild the world. Balder's role in post-Ragnarok would include restoring order and harmony. He would re-establish societal and cosmic order, bringing balance back to the universe. Also, Balder would inherit the wisdom and knowledge from the previous age, using it to guide the new world towards peace and prosperity. Finally, at number 1, Odysseus. Topping our list is Odysseus, the clever Greek hero from Homer's epic, the Odyssey. After Troy fell, Odysseus spent 10 years trying to get back home to Ithaca. His journey was full of dangers, from angry gods like Poseidon to encounters with mythical creatures like the Cyclops Polyphemus and the Enchantress Circe. Because he was gone so long, many in Ithaca thought he was dead, but his wife, Penelope, remained hopeful and clever, fending off suitors, while his son, Telemachus, actively sought news of his father. Odysseus faced many trials on his way home. He was held captive by the nymph Calypso for 7 years, survived the deadly sirens, and sailed through the dangerous waters between Scylla and Charybdis. Even with all these obstacles, his cleverness and determination never failed him. Finally, with some help from the gods, Odysseus returned to Ithaca in disguise. He revealed his identity by stringing his great bow. He then defeated the suitors who had taken over his palace and reclaimed his place as king. Odysseus' dramatic return after years of wandering shows his strength, intelligence, and determination. His story is proof of the human spirit and the unexplainable desire for home and family. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click on the next one for more interesting insights from the fascinating world of mythology.